ए फजले उमर तेरे औसाफे करे माना ए फजले उमर तेरे.
A society created on the precepts of justice and equality has been the dream of politicians and philosophers throughout time. Throughout history, social and political movements have arisen aimed at rectifying this, and yet inequalities remain between rich and poor. The Khilafat of the second successor of the promised Messiah ﷺ heralded a time of immense international conflict and social revolution. 2 world wars were fought, ruling dynasties collapsed, and the global political map was redrawn. The consequences of that social turbulence still haunt us to this day. Hadhrat Musleh Maood was keenly aware of all this. How then is Ahmadiyya going to deal with the problem of social inequality in the world? That solution had already been shaped by the founder of Ahmadiyya, the promised Messiah ﷺ, under divine guidance in the form of a social system based on Islamic principles of justice and compassion for the underprivileged. That solution was a simple scheme known as al-Wasiyyat. The promised Messiah instituted among his followers a system of voluntary consecration of properties by individual Ahmadis to the need of Islam in the widest sense of the term. He explained the purpose and function of this institution in his book Al-Wasiyyat, The Will, in 1905, and since then willing away portions of properties and income to the central Anjuman-e-Ahmadiyya at Qadian have become a common practice with Ahmadis. However, as Hadhrat Musleh Maood wrote in Nizam-e-Nur, the scheme of al-Wasiyyat would require time before it would be fully mature.
It must await the years when the greater part of the world will have accepted Ahmadiyyat.
How would the jama'at continue with its plans for the establishment of a new world order in the meantime?
God, therefore, inspired me with the idea of Tahrik-e-Jadid as a means of establishing a central fund which may be utilized towards a more intensive propagation of Ahmadiyyat.
In
sermons on November 16th, November 23rd, and November 30th, 1934, Hadhrat Khalifatul Masih II, Radhiyallahu anhu, outlined the framework of Tehrik-e-Jadid and made 19 demands on his followers.
The following injunctions were included. 1. Lead a simple life. 2. Participate in spreading the message of Islam worldwide. 3. Dedicate leave periods for the service of jama'at. 4. Members to dedicate their lives to serve Islam. 5. Dedicate during seasonal vacations periods for service of jama'at. 6. Offer your children for lifetime waqf. 7. Pensioners and retired people to offer themselves for service of jama'at. 8. Dedicate part of your income and property. 9. Influential and learned Ahmadis should give lectures. 10. Prepare rebuttal of adverse propaganda. 11. Seek advice from the Jama'at when deciding about higher education and future of your children. 12. Develop the habit of working with your own hands instead of depending on others. 13. Jobless person should not hesitate to take up even petty jobs. 14. Promote Islamic culture. 15. Promote honesty in society. 16. Keep the paths clean. 17. Protect women's rights. 18. If possible, members may build houses in Qadian. 19. Offer special prayers in order to succeed in these undertakings.
While inaugurating the fifth ledger of Tehrik-e-Jadid, Hazur stated,
तहरीक-ए-जदीद को जैसा कि मैंने बताया, पहला दौर 10 साल का था, फिर दोबारा शुरू किया हज़रत मुस्लिम मौऊद ने। तो उस वक़्त आपने ये जो दौर था उसको दफ्तर कहा। इस दफ्तर स्वयं का ऐलान खिलाफत सालसा में हुआ था और फिर दफ्तर चहारों का आगाज़ 19 साल बाद 1985 में खिलाफत राबिया में हुआ और इस असूल के तहत वही असूल रखा था मुस्लिम मौऊद ने कि 19 साल दौर होगा। आज 19 साल पूरे होने पर दफ्तर चहारों को भी 19 साल पूरे हो गए हैं। इसलिए आज से दफ्तर पंजम का आगाज़ होता है इंशाअल्लाह ताला। अब आइंदा से जितने भी नए मुजाहिदीन तहरीक-ए-जदीद के माली कुर्बानी में शामिल होंगे वो दफ्तर पंजम में शामिल होंगे।
The promised Messiah ﷺ wanted that the funds obtained from al-Wasiyat were to be used towards securing the welfare of the orphans and the needy who do not possess adequate means of subsistence. Hadhrat Musleh Maood ﷺ has written,
It is true that the funds collected by means of wills are at present not very large. But as Ahmadiyyat goes on spreading faster and faster, these funds will also grow. By a natural process, they will go on multiplying, so that the day of the complete establishment of the new order will come nearer and nearer.
Tehrik-e-Jadid was inaugurated on November 23, 1934 and continues to this day. Initially, the scheme was set up on a temporary basis. However, by November 27, 1953, the scheme was made permanent by Hadhrat Musleh Maood ﷺ. Today, through the blessings of this scheme, the jama'at has been established in over 178 countries. More than 13,000 mosques have been built, and 740 missions have been established around the world. Moreover, at present, 250 missionaries are working to propagate the message of true Islam.
The only system that will endure will be the one based upon the willing cooperation of human beings. The grass grows today and withers tomorrow, but the tree which has to yield fruits takes long to grow and then endures for long. As our community grows, this system also will grow with it. The promised Messiah ﷺ has said in Al-Wasiyat, "Do not think that this is all fancy. This is the decree of Almighty, the ruler of the earth and heavens. I am not worried over how all this property will be collected and how a community will grow up to accomplish all this in the strength of this faith. What I do worry about is lest, after our time, those who are put in charge of these funds should be tempted by their volume and should yield to such temptations and incline towards the world. So I pray that God may continue to provide this movement with honest and faithful workers who should work for the sake of God. Though it would be permissible that in case of those who have no other means of subsistence, an allowance may be made out of these funds."
फजले उमर तेरे
When the promised Messiah prayed for a sign in support of Islam, Allah gave him the good tidings about his son.
है फजले उमर तेरे
He will be extremely intelligent and understanding, and will be meek of heart, and will be filled with secular and spiritual knowledge. He will convert 3 into 4. Of this the meaning is not clear. It is Monday, a blessed Monday. Son, delight of heart, high-ranking, noble, a manifestation of the first and the last, a manifestation of the true and the high, as if Allah has descended from heaven. His advent will be greatly blessed, and will be a source of manifestation of divine majesty. Behold, a light cometh, a light anointed by God with the perfume of his pleasure. We shall pour our spirit into him, and he will be sheltered under the shadow of God. He will grow rapidly in stature, and will be the means of procuring the release of those held in bondage. His fame will spread to the ends of the earth, and peoples will be blessed through him. He will then be raised to his spiritual station in heaven. This is a matter decreed.
इंसान नहीं लाती ये गर्दिशे रोजाना ये गर्दिशे दौराना
The existence and philosophy behind Tehrik-e-Jadid bears testimony to the fulfillment of this revelation to this day.
है फजले